what does this art tell us about ancient African women? According to Jeffries, it presents them in a variety of ways. Some paintings show black women in a symbolic manner, as primordial mother or Mother Nature, who creates and nurtures all life. Certain sculptured pieces appear to represent fertility and motherhood, which were highly regarded by African people. A number of paintings show women gathered together, wearing curious masks and vulture headdresses. In still other scenes, we find women talking together, posing, dancing, carrying pottery vessels, and relaxing with their children. One of the most popular of the prehistoric paintings is a depiction of two young ladies referred to as Pule women. Their attire is surprisingly similar to modern dress. A universal figure is the horned goddess, who is depicted in graceful running strides with horns on her head surmounted by a pot-shaped hat. African legends speak of horns as being symbolic in calling together a nation. As we move toward later historical times, we meet the African woman, but this time she is settled along the Nile River. It was in this region that the most ancient and continuous civilization in the world appears to have arisen. First in Nubia, and then in Egypt. Of course, not all scholars agree on the origin of the Egyptian civilization. In part one of this series, however, we cited a growing body of evidence that points toward a black or Nubian beginning, which is consistent with ancient tradition. In his book, The African Background to Medical Science, Dr. Charles Finch sheds further light on the black roots of Egyptian civilization. He points out that the Egyptians named themselves Kamu, which translates literally as the blacks. Their words for the African land to the south of them was Kentu, or Kintu, denoting the Sudanese peoples who lived there. This word also meant first, foremost, beginning, origin, and chief. The Egyptians also referred to Inner Africa as the old country and the land of the gods, or as we might say today, God's country. Furthermore, the Egyptian word for east was the same as their word for left, and their word for west the same as their word for right. Their word for front was the same as the word for south, and the word for back was the same as the word for north. According to Dr. Finch, all of this was possible only if the Egyptians oriented themselves southward and looked in that direction for the land of their origins. Another source of evidence in support of the view that the ancient Egyptians were black people is the Christian Bible. In Genesis, Noah's three sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth, are presented as the ancestors of the three main branches of humankind known to biblical writers. Ham is unquestionably the ancestor of the black race, and his name appears to have come from the Egyptian Kam, meaning black. The sons of Ham were listed as follows. Mizraim equals Egypt. Cush was Ethiopia. Canaan was Palestine, and Phut was Libya.